really excited to have everybody here. I wanted to, first of all, thank you guys for coming. You're the reason we're all here. And of course, because you're here, we get to bring sponsors here, and they help pay for all the bills. So really excited to be back this year and grateful to have you again, learning and sharing and collaborating with us. So we have about 140 builders and about 100 sponsors here. Over the next couple of days, we encourage you to make meaningful connections, make tech a really strategic asset to your businesses. And sponsoring companies represent a wide variety of products, from smart appliances, property management solutions, tankless water heaters, wiring enclosures, a lot of LED lighting, electrical devices, HVAC, Wi-Fi, etc. In the general session, boardroom presentations and one-on-ones, and the networking events, we encourage you to seek out the products and the programs and people who can help you with your goals. I always think that this event does a couple things, and when we put these sessions together, they're with a couple of constituents. One, you. What are the things that you need to do or should be considering as emerging trends in building homes? And what should you expect from your vendors to help you deliver those cool, innovative solutions? With that, we try to help our vendors know what you guys expect, deliver you the things you need to capitalize on their offers, either make it a standard, increase the sell-through on an option, and putting those two things together, we're trying to make a better marketplace for everybody, and really ultimately the people that live in your homes, right? That's what we're trying to do, is make them just love where they live, thank you for it, and we're all trying to work together to make that happen. So today, our sponsor in this wellness session is Broan-NuTone, and I'd like to invite to the stage Edwin Vender. He's Vice President of Marketing, and he runs the whole Overture program, which is their new connected air solution, and he's going to give us a little introduction. Edwin?
Thank you, Joe. Hello, everybody, and thank you for taking the time to come here this afternoon. I see some friendly faces here, a few folks that have been around to a couple of these shows. This is something I love talking about. I grew up in Chicago, then I moved down to Georgia. It slowed me down a little bit. Then I moved back to Illinois, and now my pace of my speech gets a little bit faster again. So if I get too fast, somebody give me a slow down. How you guys will define the future of healthy homes. It's a very, very important topic. In fact, it is at the very beginning of it. It's only going to get more and more important as we move forward. Our brand purpose is that better quality of air means better quality of life. That's what we focus in on. We're not going outside our lanes with that. We're not trying to be everything to everybody. We want to focus very, very directly on that and develop the products that are going to be the most useful to deliver the best air all the time. You have probably heard this from 100 people. You spend 90% of your time indoors. But do you know if the air that you're breathing at home is clean and healthy? And let me tell you something. You'll see it in just a little bit. It's not because of what you guys do, because you guys build really frickin' well. It's what happens afterwards. And that's what we have to help the homeowner understand. So, just to help you think about this a little bit more clearly, one of these represents the weight of food you consume every day. One of these represents the weight of water you consume every day. And one of these represents the weight of air you consume every day. Somebody give me a guess as to which one is the air. 35 pounds. 25,000 breaths happen every single day. So if you want to improve your health, one of the things you've got to be thinking about is, how do I improve my indoor air quality? Or stop breathing. That's not so good for improving the quality of your life, though. So what's the problem? Y'all, all builders, you know about this. The focus on energy savings is causing houses to be built tighter and tighter every single day. But that's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. It's great for the consumer. But it's kind of like putting a big bag over the house And now what we have to do is poke strategic filtered fresh air holes into that bag to make sure that we're getting air in and out and exchanging it throughout the course of the day. And with the things that we are typically talking about here, we're not covering everything. What we talk about are things like CO2, PM2.5, humidity, VOCs. These are the things that are getting trapped in the house more and more and are leading to situations like CO2 is a little bit less learning capability. VOCs, a little bit more kind of poisonous. PM2.5 is the dust that gets into your lungs and transmits between your lung membranes and gathers over time and doesn't help you to be any healthier. And we all know about humidity. One of the things we learned a lot during the pandemic, though, is while everybody thinks a lot about getting humidity out and high humidity, one of the things we learned very clearly is that low humidity is also a breeding ground for viruses. You know this from what happens in all of y'all's homes during the winter period of time, but if that is happening in the house every single day, not a good thing. But the changes in lifestyles is the bigger thing that's happened. The focus on health and what we're talking about here, we didn't start this program 2 years ago. This was coming way before that because the things I just showed you have nothing to do with the pandemic. But what's changed are things like pets in the home. My father-in-law never had his pet, never came in-house. He called it an outside dog. That's what it was. Cats and dogs give up about 2 to 3 times more pollution than people. No code is going to adjust for that kind of situation. No code is going to adjust for the type of wolf range that you put into the home that might be giving off VOCs. So these are the things that are changes in lifestyle, and God bless my children, but man, if I can't get them to turn on the bath fan in the morning when they take a shower, and then if I finally break through and get them to do it, what don't they do? They don't turn it off. So now I'm wasting energy, right? So let's be need-based. Let's make sure we activate these things that are in the house, that were designed to work, that y'all are putting in there already. Let's activate them based on what's happening in the house and the conditions. Parks and Associates is a very well-known research group out of Dallas that looks at IoT and smart home adoption within the building industry. They recently gave a presentation at BDX two weeks ago. They talked about 67% of people have a chronic condition. 20% of people or caregivers put a monitor into a loved one's homes. So it's coming. The question I asked at the beginning of do you know, people are asking questions. People are bringing things after the effect. Your ability to know going into it becomes very, very powerful for you guys to say, I've got something better. Do builders care? I know you care. I travel all over the country every single week. It's not a question of do you care, it's how do I do it? Is it robust? Can I depend on it? How do I know it's actually going to work? Do you have proof? Those are the questions that are asked of me, not whether you care or not. Every single builder I've been to over the last 9 months has said immediately, I know somebody who could use that. I know somebody who would be interested in that solution. You all know what's going on out there. So, is there a solution? Look, information is good. There's a lot of monitors that homeowners can buy after they move into the house. But that's information. So let's take a look at a piece of the industry in comfort and how it changed over time. A thermometer is information. At one time, you could put a thermometer in your house, and you could open a door, you could open a window, you could put a fan on when it got too hot. That's information. Activation is using the devices to turn on what you already want, what you already know. It's a very simple process. You just have to design it in. We have a great builder down in the Houston area who said, I've got people that come in every single day with panels of what they want. They got the picture of the bathroom. They got the picture of the living room. Nobody comes in asking about what is the indoor air quality system that they want. But they expect it. And what he does is he shows them in their existing house what their indoor air quality is and says, I can build you a better house. And then that's why they make that switch. So in our space, indoor air quality, information is good. But activation is better. You're not using any special equipment. If you're using ERVs, range hoods, bath fans, you're tying them all together and you're just activating them based on need or based on spot loading. How it works is very, very simple. You've got sensors connected to switches, connected to ERV, and it's basically telling them turn on or not, push in fresh air, get rid of bad air based on the conditions in that room. It's app-based, so it makes it very, very easy for the homeowner to see the information. But we also understand that this is one piece of the puzzle. For a healthy home, there are other pieces like air, water that come into this. We're going to stay in our lane, and we've developed this as an open API system that is already integrated with Elan. It will be integrated with Control4, Crestron in the next month or so, and more platforms, because we know there will be multiple things that need to come together, and we are not going to be the sole proprietor of all that information. But we do want to make sure we're very, very easy for you and your teams to integrate into the process. So, we talked a little bit about this. Why hasn't it been solved? There is a problem. Homeowners are not used to what they see and feel, or what they can see and feel. There was a recent study that showed that homeowners were willing to accept 4 times higher PM 2.5 than the WHO upper limit. That's when they started to feel uncomfortable. But they're taking all that stuff in. Let's do better. And the solution requires planning. We know it takes the mechanical system is at the front end, and we have to link this all together. So we can't just do it at the last moment. It has to come at the beginning. We had a national builder at the Tech Home Summit here in Louisville say that when they brought the technical person into the front end of the process, meeting with homeowners, their average sales price for a home went up over $100,000. That's what happens when you make people aware of what the opportunities are, you let them know about how it's going to affect them, and I'm telling you, nobody's going to give up on health. We know people care about the problem, they just don't always know the magnitude, and they don't know how to solve it. They're relying on you, they're relying on me, they're relying on all of us to help them understand it. There is a solution. Monitoring and activation is the answer. It's how you're going to make sure that the stuff that you put into the house is actually used and brings the best possible life to the homeowner. So I always do this because it's all of us. There's 4 fingers in the literal sense, right? You always talk about one finger pointing out, there's 4 back to me. My job is to make people aware of what the opportunities are. I want you all to know that there's something out there. We'd love to talk with you about it if you have a chance. And ultimately, it comes back to this. You spend around 90% of your time indoors. 3 years ago, about 60% of that 90% was spent in an office building somewhere. Now, 90% of your time is spent in your home. Your kids are in your home, you're in a home office, you got dogs laying at your feet. All of this is being put together in a home. And you need to know what your home looks like. So, with that, I'll pass it on to our next presenter, and thank you all very much.
Thank you, Edwin. All right, so this session on wellness, get that deck up there. We are going to have you guys do a fair bit of the work today in some breakout groups. And we're going to introduce some concepts around healthy home. It starts with air, you got water, you got light, but then it expands farther. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Then we're going to actually break into 6 tables. So we're going to ask a few people to move around. If we have 7, we have 7, but I think we can do it with 6. We have some white paper. We're going to ask you as a group to sort of have someone scribe. We're going to give you 3 sort of challenge questions. You're going to work through that for about a half an hour. and then we're going to come back and present. And we will ask someone to come up here because we want to capture it on camera. So just letting you know, whoever wants to talk about what your table does, you're going to come up here and share it. We'll put the whiteboard up here. We'll go from there. So I wanted to introduce my partner in crime, Marla Esser-Close. Can we get her up there? She is joining us remotely. We had a little challenge getting her here, but we're real happy to have her. Marla is got a business called Green Home Coach, and she helps with develop programs and consults to a variety of constituents. And Marla, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background and business?
Well, hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be there with you virtually. I wish I was there in person. But hey, it's a good thing we got technology, right? So I've been working in the green home industry for about 15 plus years now and have worked in a variety of different ways. It's actually a career I've come to kind of accidentally, but it has felt like I have come home, and it is a great place for me to use my engineering background and to bring together some of the marketing things that I've learned over the years as well. I have a passion for women in the workforce development, as well as having the healthiest homes that we can for all of us to live better lives. And that's what we do here at Green Home Coach.
Great, thanks Marla. I met Marla while doing some research on this category for another session. And to set this up, we're just going to give you a little background on the space, some of the expanded categories for Healthy Home, a little bit of background to help set up the breakout session. So first of all, it's a really exploding category. The Global Wellness Institute estimates that wellness real estate is $180 billion for this year. And it affects a lot of broad categories. I'm going to pass it over to Marla now, who's going to talk through some of the categories that make up this sort of dynamic, holistic, healthy home segment.
Well, and let's set the stage a little bit as well. With coming in from the indoor air quality and the indoor environmental quality is such a great place to start, because these are the kind of projects that homeowners are going to invest in. And they really want these projects that make them feel calm and comfortable and inspired and healthy and safe. You know, these places that we call home have now really come to be the places where we not only survive, but we thrive. And that focus has been brought even more to our attention over the last few years. So we can see in different articles and different research that simple statistics such as homes that electric vehicle chargers and drought-resistant landscaping will sell faster and often for more money than homes without these kind of features. I can go through a litany of different features that have this kind of representation for how they help our homes to sell better, because homeowners are really starting to get the gist of this idea that these homes are better for them.
Hey,
Marla,
one step.
yes.
Could you make the connection between Green Home and Healthy Home? You did that for me. I thought it was helpful.
Yeah. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in a little bit as well with an infographic. But green homes are really a holistic foundation for starting the health and wellness journey in a building structure that we call home. And what's really important about that is the central categories that come together with the resources, energy, water, air, as well as the materials that come together to make that house a home are the fundamental foundations for how we build up our health and wellness features to go from there. So when you're talking about basics like clean air and clean water and natural light, those come from the structural foundation, which is what a green certified home can bring us.
So green sort of starts the pathway to wellness, healthy home.
It really does.
Great.
And resiliency is a big factor in there as well. And as we just saw with Hurricane Ian, the heartbreaking damage that was done to so many structures that just were not built to take this kind of a beating, literally. And we do know how to build homes that can withstand those so much better. So, as we said, it starts with clean air. That's kind of the basic. And clean air, clean water, and light, natural light, really form the beginning of us having a health and wellness approach to our homes and our structures and our lives. So when you start thinking about wellness packages, that's a great place to start. And it's kind of funny because things as simple as a central vacuum system, which a lot of people think of as a convenience factor, is actually a wellness factor because it helps to get all that nasty stuff out of the house on a regular basis, and it's easy to do, so a homeowner will do it. Edwin made the point that it's, we can build the best house in the world, but if our homeowners don't know how to take care of it and don't take care of it, it's not going to continue to give back to them. Humidity sensing bathroom fans, Edwin, would also be a great idea for anybody with teenagers, because that way you don't have to worry about reminding them when to turn it on and off. So these kind of features we have and the technology we have to make these features a really easy addition to our homes. So smart systems, smart homes, all of that couples together with these health and wellness features so that they work more easily, and we don't have to think a lot about how we train our homeowners to do it. Rather, we get them started and then teach them that these things are there. A few other features that we see are ones you're seeing a lot: flex spaces and indoor-outdoor spaces, easy to clean surfaces. Some of these just seem like common sense, right? But the pandemic brought a lot of these to the forefront. So I actually found a wonderful quote on the Global Wellness Institute. It ties all this together so well. So forgive me for reading for a moment. But our homes, our communities, and our surrounding environment directly affect our daily behaviors and lifestyles. And together, these determine 80 to 90% of our health outcomes. That's huge. Since our homes are typically our most important and biggest personal investment and expenditure, it's only logical that they should also be an investment in our health and our well-being. And it really kind of ties it all together because it all does connect. You got the next slide?
Sorry, thank you.
That's okay. Okay, so this is a little bit of an eye chart. I hope your screen's a heck of a lot bigger than mine. So we were talking a little bit earlier about how green homes are holistic in nature and provide the foundation for how we move forward into this health and wellness category, this health and wellness, and even on into the wellness lux. And it starts with all the different pieces of how our homes are constructed. So the land and the site, resource, energy, and water efficiencies and conservation where it's needed, indoor environmental quality, which relates to clean air and moisture, and then occupant education and documentation, which is so, so important for us to help our homeowners actually understand how to drive these really great houses that we're building for them. So then you look at the blue part, and we're gonna stack in 10 different health and wellness categories, if you will, on top of the foundation of our green homes. And this is where we start to pull out or expand some of these features that we've already built into our green homes because they're there by nature. So clean air, that may come from our filtration systems or a purifier. Clean water may come from, again, filtration and purifying systems. Natural light from windows, skylights, sun tubes, and well-managed natural light so that we don't have glares and we have the optimum light for our homes. Chemical control, how we're using non-toxic finishes, materials, as well as adhesives and sealants in our homes when we build them. We can then look at the trifecta of physical, mental, and spiritual wellness and look at how the peace of mind that we bring to our homes by having these things taken care of, as well as having spaces for people to unwind physically, mentally, and spiritually and unplug, how those contribute also to the wellness factor is a big part of this. Conscious consumption. Well, here we think about ways to help our homeowners think a little better about what they're using only what they need. We're optimizing the materials and the resources that we use in our homes, and we're talking about it so these people know that we have done these things to better their actual experience in the home. Food science can be everything from appliances to a garden in the backyard, even an indoor composter, so all kinds of different things that can contribute to food science features. And we wrap it all up with behavioral strategies, which also kind of ties in there with the occupant education and documentation. But we need to convey the strategies, the behaviors that these people want to have in their homes while they're living there, so that all these health and wellness features that we're giving them, providing in these homes, come together to give them a better life. because that's where it all really comes together. And then if you tie all this together into an entire home and community that is built really for the amenities and for holistic health as its entire approach, then we've come into the area of wellness lux, or luxury wellness. And we're seeing a lot more wellness communities out there. So this is catching on very fast. So having all this is great, right? But you got to market it. You've got to tell people why you're different, how your homes are distinguished, and why they care. So many times we in the building industry kind of assume that people understand what the technical features are, they understand that that's important, and they understand how it's going to benefit them. But sometimes, actually a lot of times, they don't. So we start with talking, and I'm going to say talking in air quotes because talking may be writing, talking may be talking in a sales conversation, talking may be on your website, talking may be in your blogs, on your social media. So talking in air quotes, talk about the benefits and the value that comes first. So benefits would be able to breathe easier, having less polluted or better water. Can you go back one moment? Thanks.
I'm sorry, back it up, sorry.
That's okay. And once we've established the benefits, then we connect that to the feature. So for instance, breathing easier would come from our clean air features, like our filtration systems, our ventilation. And then we make sure everybody's on the same page. This is super, super, super important. I walked into a home builder's sales model not too long ago, and the salesperson was not preaching the same message that was plastered all over the model home. So you want to make sure everything's in sync. You have silent sales to help out, education, your website, your social media, and all the people in your company and your sales team are all trained with the same benefits, value, and features. So they know that they're all running in a well-orchestrated fashion. Okay, now we can go forward, thanks. So then you want to think about the value to your clients and the people that live in your homes, these people that you are providing them with a better life. And these are the benefits that can come from all of these features that we've been talking about. So things like improved health and wellness, peace of mind, which is actually a really big one. Comfort is a huge one as well. That's one that's very important to our basic human needs. Easier maintenance and operations, that's a big one. A lot of times we don't talk about, as well as the lower cost of maintenance and operation. And it could even be as simple as less time needed to take care of a home, update it, and take care of it. So lots of benefits out there. You just got to make sure that we're communicating them when you're talking about your homes.
All right, Marla, thank you. For the breakout session, our goal here is to have you all break into groups. We're going to assign you categories. And so we've broken this sort of smart art in to sort of help group the categories and the features together that you will be assigned as a table and work through. We'll give you the challenge questions in a minute. So you've got air, water, light, and sound. That's sort of your environment. You've got fitness, food, nutrition, sleep, security, and safety is more of the physical aspects. And the psychological, get into the spiritual, nature, family and social, and mindfulness. And, that area is going to be the fun group. So really, I'm going to try to pick the table that I think's got, that does the most yoga. In that space, you got yoga rooms, you've got prayer rooms, you've got things that connect indoor and outdoor, living walls, those types of aspects. So what we're going to ask you to do is, based on the groups that we assign you, is first work through and pick the features, the elements that you think are most valuable to get started in this. Now, remembering, you do a lot now, right? Whether it's low VOC building materials, or you do have some healthy home indoor air quality solutions or things like that, which is all good. But what's the next step? So let's pick some features that we want to ruminate on and ideate on. Then let's try to identify the benefits to these features. What is in it for the homeowner? And thinking about it from two hats. One, if you're a custom home builder, you're going to want to do things in a marketing sense that's going to attract more buyers of the right millennial buyers that are thinking about this, or if you're doing some high-end semi-custom production work, it's going to be using these features and benefits to attract more buyers to the development. So it's, what are you going to do? What's in it for the homeowner? And then lastly, what are ways that you want to be able to show these benefits, whether it's something you do, whether it's something you look for your vendors to help you with. So I'll walk around, we'll answer some questions, but let's take your group, pick the features that you think are most compelling, what's in it for the homeowner, and how are you going to get this into your marketing to either attract more buyers or close more deals with clients. What category did you do?
Did environmental.
Environmental. All right, why don't you walk us through what you talked about?
All right, so we talked, we kind of listed several things on each category. So light, we started with bleeding indoor and outdoor light. So talking about different types of door strategies, window fenestration strategies, diffusing natural daylight throughout the occupiable spaces in the home. We talked about bringing in the right kind of artificial light. Kind of a second bullet point of that is circadian rhythm lighting, where you're designing the lighting intensity and colors to kind of match that of the natural daytime spectrum, which can help you get more energy midday and sleep better at night. Obviously, automation all plays into this, how you can control those lights and make people happier just by presenting them with the right scenes at the right time of day. Light, color, and mood, and then window coverings. So this came up mainly from a sleep discussion and talking about, when you have more windows, you also need more shades, but then blackout type shades and sleeping environments to help you sleep better. Going into sound, we talked about isolation. The previous presenter, we talked about building tighter, and I think one of the benefits of building tighter is when you have more air control and also more insulation, you kind of quiet the inside space from the outside space better, so you get that natural buffer there. Using quieter products and putting acoustic panels and things like that in the right spots to optimize sound within the home. Some people were using white noise for better sleep and creating the right sleep environments again. So sleep is coming like a theme throughout all of these here. We talked about insulation already. And then lower noise HVAC systems, not hearing the humming and the hissing of that anymore, and designing better systems, better ductwork. A lot of people are using heat pumps. I've had better experience with heat pumps than forced air, but some other people in our group had the opposite. So, then getting into air, we talked about room-by-room air purification systems. So those are kind of add-on later after build type products, but those can help the indoor air quality in each individual room. The proper cleaning of ducts at handoff, also just keeping a cleaner construction site throughout the whole process can make for better air quality in the back end there. And then on-demand type ventilation strategies that are using real-time sensor inputs to be able to adjust ventilation flows to optimize CO2, VOCs, that kind of thing throughout the spaces. And then getting into water, we have water filtration. Kind of an opportunity we saw for this in technology is real-time water quality sensors. There's a lot of air quality sensors in the market today, but doing a water quality test is pretty difficult. You have to send something to a lab, wait a week or so to get response, and you're not going to be able to do anything in real time if that's the case. So I think there's a good gap in technology to make up for that, or an opportunity for technology to make up for that. Efficient, fast response type hot water systems just for more human comfort. Rain barrels, using that for sustainability, and there's also some discussion around that with using gray water and recapture type systems. Tank versus tankless is more of a conversation around space than anything else. And then leak detection just for risk mitigation within the home. So I think 90% of building failures are due to moisture and water, so that can definitely lower insurance premiums and just make a better quality home for people.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
I love the idea about, this might be a stretch, but if you offered to test the water at your client's house to see what kind of water filtration system you needed, that's thinking about outside the box, right? That's a great example. I have one example of lighting where a project I was involved with, there was a floor-through brownstone in Boston. Floor-through means that it goes from the front to the back. There were windows in the front and the back, and they put the kitchen in the middle of this floor, which had very little, almost no natural light. They used a circadian rhythm natural lighting system, and when you turn that light on in the middle of that space, it just drew the light from the outside, and it made such an incredible difference. It was an amazing result, and it was a really cool feature that the client loved. They also had blackout shades because they're very light sensitive. Blackout shades in the bedrooms, natural light in this dark space, pulling in light from the outside. Really powerful feature. All right, who's coming up from here? Ryan? That's okay, I'll hold it for you. I'm not doing much of anything else here. All right.
All right, so our first topic, when we were talking about features that are most compelling, we kind of felt like it was self-explanatory that the most compelling features, the benefits of it are self-explanatory. So we started with safety and security. Obviously, alarms came up. We started talking about smart locks and gates and camera systems, CCTV, even down to, the doorbells, the Ring doorbell stuff. I don't know what the heck he wrote right there, but I'm going to put. Oh, on the pools, yeah, as a safety feature for pools out back. That was a good one that came up. Water detection devices, and just the monitoring of all of those devices. The next topic we went into was talking about sleep, touches on some of the things the gentleman before was talking about, the lighting that you use, the air quality, blackout shades, looking at circadian rhythm, that's a big deal. Those kind of things were a big deal. Oxygen control monitoring, those things, and Faraday, for those that know what that is. If you don't, grab Greg, because he will tell you everything you'd ever want to know about a Faraday system and show you pictures on his flip phone. Fold, I'm sorry. Flip was, that was 1985. Yeah. So then we also started talking about something that Broan has brought up. I picked this up from you last year. I don't know if anybody knows this, but it was kind of cool they brought it up last year. One of the biggest offenders for air quality, which obviously involves sleep and all of those things, is that stuffed animals are horrible for you, right? So if you can be using, and where we find most of those in nurseries, right? And your dogs and your pets. So if you can look at hypoallergenic things like that, that can absolutely be a benefit and feature as well.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So then we moved into food, nutrition, fitness. We kind of felt like that was almost one and the same a little bit. But the foods, that you have dedicated areas for the in-home, the chef's gardens, the microgreens that are going on. When you look at food like that, we talked about the old 1970s vertical planting walls. If you guys haven't seen those, going to more shows I've been going to. I was just at Climate Week last week in New York City. And that was a big deal. They've got them everywhere. Like, that's making a comeback. So things like that, water dispensers, water filtration systems, things like that. When people talk about food and nutrition, obviously water is a source of life. So, for instance, we have, with my company, we have a device that takes the humidity out of the air and makes a drinking water out of the humidity in the air. So you can filter that to alkaline if that's more important to you than, say like a reverse osmosis or purified or whatever you wanted. So we talked about those things. Site-specific, proximity to trails for fitness, those kind of things. Obviously, if, a fitness center, some sort of cardio rooms, things like that. Sometimes it's just a yoga area, right? And we look at that as fitness and peace of mind. Another thing we did bring up, it was in green, was the recycling areas as well. Being a little more proactive on that can fall into that lines a little bit. I think we had one more page. What else do we have?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, and then for the last part, so how to market. There's so many different ways to reach people, right? You could do webinars. You can, for those that know about the metaverse, right, and virtual worlds where you can start having these things happen. YouTube is great. Video's king on search engine, and, for those that know that. Peer discussion groups, things like Discord, Telegram, Facebook groups. You can start creating communities that are just passionate. Bring those kind of people into your environment and have them be advocates for your building solution because they're already passionate about it. They already love it. They're going to be talking about it with or without you building a house. Why not encapsulate those kind of people to share the buildings that you're doing that fits what they're passionate about? So groups, AE Ventures, things like that.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Marla, before I invite the next group up, I knew the hardest part was going to be the marketing stuff. I've got some ideas at the end, but anything you could talk about on the environmental side of ways to market these features and benefits to attract more buyers, get more clients?
Again, it's all about the message, right? We can have all of the best avenues and venues to get out there, but we got to have that message, and knowing how that connects is really the crux of that. And I'm hearing some really good feedback, so it sounds like y'all are starting on the right road. But,
Awesome.
but getting that message down is key.
Awesome. All right. Hopping right up here.
Vanna White.
Yes, sir.
All right, so great collaboration. We did something a little more linear at our table. So features of air, obviously clean air filtration is number one. I mean, you have to filter your air. UV lights are kind of a thing in the past, but we decided to put it in there anyways. And ERVs, even as much so to filter the air coming in from the outside so you're not pulling the outside pollutants in. The benefits, obviously having fewer allergies, higher comfort levels is always important, and peace of mind. I'm going to add one in there. I just did a renovation at my house, and my house is full of dust. The dust never goes away. So getting the dust out of the air is so important. How to market it? Sharing the measurables. This fine gentleman behind me mentioned giving homeowners and clients air quality sensors. So having that in their house before we start and to show them, like, this is how bad your air actually is. And highlight the benefits, so just education, just letting the clients know, bringing our science to the table. It's a hard thing to sell. I think we can all agree on that, but education would be the best. So water kind of ties in a little bit with air. Whole home filtration, that's something we've started recently in the past about 6 months. We really push the whole home filters in all of our builds, renovations and new builds. Reverse osmosis is great, but it's very wasteful. So I think we were saying every 1 gallon that RO makes, it wastes 3 or 4 gallons. So not the best for the environment, but could be better for, taste and contaminants. Also rainwater collection. Where I'm from, the city actually gives us a credit for collecting rainwater, and one gentleman at the table, I believe he lives in Ohio, says it's against the law to do that. So kind of industry and area specific. Benefits, obviously reduce illness, reduce odors, and reduce cost. And kind of similar to air, how do we market it? We have to educate our clients. All right, getting onto lights. Everybody loves lights. We struggle with this one a little bit, but I mean, putting dimmers on, having programming, home automation, occupancy sensors, anything to help kind of not have us flick on and off lights. As well as your mental well-being. So I know we talked a lot about circadian rhythm. You wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, you flick on your light, it's a 5K, it's just like, it's so blue and so white. So, having something a little less intense is always a benefit. Benefits of that, reduce operational cost. Mental well-being could be a feature and a benefit, and we had no idea how to market it. And that's about as far as we got.
All right, thank you. Yeah, marketing lighting. Whether you're a production builder or you're a custom builder, starting off with a standard for your clients to get them over the hump is an important way to do it. We used to coach people to do the peace of mind lighting package. Oh, I don't need any of that fancy stuff. Well, how would you like all your outdoor lights to come on and off at the same time or from one switch? And how about if we had a nice pathway light from the front door to the kitchen or the front door to your kids' room when you're coming home at night? And you have it's a peace of mind, it's a comfort package, and then you can grow off of it. So marketing those, we used to call them moments. A moment is a fire alarm going off, turning off the HVAC and turning on the lights. There's life safety in there, and it means that you've got to have those 3 systems, your climate, your security, and your lighting connected. When you market those moments, that gets someone to say, I want that moment, and now the rest it goes downhill. So that's a way to market this stuff. What's the emotional connection to it? And often, there are things that are life safety and elegance benefits, right? Lighting has life safety and elegance. Music has peace, has a spirit or an entertainment value, but it also has sort of like a background peace of mind, deadening out private conversation. So try to market multiple moments and get it. All right, we have one more group. This group had the toughest category. Did someone actually volunteer? Who's going to come up? Taz, I gave you one task. That was to find someone. Taz, I'll do it with you. All right, come on up. So this one's a little harder. We only have a couple minutes. This is the sort of psychological, and I've done this before, and some folks came to the table and actually thought about different religions and different prayer rooms and spaces like that. So walk through a little bit of this, and then we can try to ad-lib as we go.
Sure thing. It's kind of a conglomerate of a bunch of different ideas that we had that focused on kind of nature, family, and meditation. For nature, we talked about kind of having kind of some sort of connection between the indoors and the outdoors and how we can kind of make that seamless and transparent, whether that's adding things like fountains, having atriums, having greenhouses, or spaces where you can kind of grow stuff both indoors and out. For family and social things, we wanted to focus on how could we really take things like family time and kind of elevate those to the next level, whether it meant to actually create specific rooms that are focused on game rooms or things like that. We went as far as to go to kind of recommend like Wi-Fi off places where individuals can kind of come to those specific rooms, and Wi-Fi wouldn't work for the kids so they wouldn't be distracted or whatever it may be. Additionally, for meditation, we talked about like yoga room, overall health. Apparently a lot of people had different comments on like the orientation of different rooms, whether it's for prayer or for certain religious needs that they had, and having kind of different rooms face certain different directions. We also talked a lot about soundproofing for meditation, having kind of one space in the room that isn't really affected by the rest of its surroundings, and then having kind of AV incorporation, how that can kind of create either white noise or anti-noise, where we're able to kind of filter out noise coming in, kind of like Bose headphones do, for example, or noise-canceling earbuds do. Marketing, we talked a lot about different ways we could do it. We talked about like TikTok, staging, virtual tours, working with different landscape partners, kind of using co-collaboration ideas where you're not just creating media for yourself, but media for other groups as well, so that they can kind of take off. And then, of course, having those kind of moments that you talked about earlier of family time, of spiritual time, of nature time, kind of taking those specific pieces of your life and making them a much more broader marketing piece.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you, Taz.
Thank you.
All right. So I appreciate you taking the time. It's not always easy. You got to talk in a group, especially when I give you, these crazy sidebar categories. But when you're here, you're going to go meet people either in your one-on-ones, your boardrooms, or during your free time. And you're going to meet vendors that can help you with this. And I not only want you to talk to them about what the category does, what the product does, and the feature does, but talk about ways that they can help you market this. They welcome those questions, right? What do I do? How do I get people interested in this? So it's on them too, right? I was a vendor, and I spent a lot of time making sure that you could easily consume my product, you could easily get it into your project, and you could really easily get the homeowner to get the benefit of it. Put it on them, push it, work together on this stuff. It's really, really important. All right, so Marla, next time you'll be here, but why don't you just say a couple words in closing, and if anyone wants to reach out to you, you got your website up there. How can you help these folks?
Yes, I can help in a number of ways. I work in green home certification support. I have a package for a gap analysis to help you understand where you can take it to the next level and how you could go about that. And I offer marketing messaging assistance as well. so that we can actually go through your marketing messages with your specifics and help you figure out the best way to treat it for your home buyers.
All right, Marla, thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, all right. I'd like to thank Broan again for sponsoring the session. Okay, next up, we're about a minute and a half over. Your group leaders are going to be outside. You're going to get with your group and you're going to go to your boardroom presentations. You need to be in your seats in 8.5 minutes. They can get you there. It's not too far. And one more time, first of all, give yourselves a hand for putting up with me and putting up with this category. Thank you. We got a few more. Enjoy your boardrooms, and we'll see you at the keynote tonight and then with the receptions party after that.